Hello everyone. Today we're looking at a game from 1971 Alekhine Memorial between Mikhail Tal, the white pieces, and Wolfgang Ullmann with the black pieces. Game started out as a French defense. Ullmann was a specialist in this opening. So e4, e6, d4, d5, and knight d2 chosen by Tal, which is a common response. There's a little flexibility as opposed to knight c3, which allows the Venauer defense after the pin. Knight gf3, knight c6, bishop b5. I want to say too, just going back real quick, is that this is an interesting defense also. Is just playing, attacking this pawn immediately. This Guimard variation here. But c5 main line also. Knight gf3, knight c6, bishop b5, d takes, knight takes, bishop d7, and now Tal plays bishop g5. And just notice how quick Tal gets his pieces into the game. It's absolutely incredible. It's just a monster in these open positions here. Queen e5 check, knight is forced back, c takes d4, knight takes d4. And now here, Ullmann plays bishop b4. Right, looks like a good move, has a threat to win a pawn. Um, Another idea here is a6 also, um, attacking the bishop. And also bishop e7. So bishop b4, castles. And now Ullmann parts with the bishop here, but in return he gets a damaged pawn targets on the queen side of white, down the c file. And now queen takes c3. Alright, so yes, white is down a pawn, however, but of course we see the queen lingering around with a bunch of minor pieces on the board. Um, and he's also behind in development. And now hindsight is 2020, and we know that against Mikhail Tal, that is not good. All right, to go pawn grabbing and be behind in development. And this was 1971 also, so it wasn't like Tal was like a new entity. He had already been world champion, so his style and strength was well known. So I guess Wolfgang was just feeling up to the challenge, and so he played in the enterprising manner here. But at least in this instance, he's actually threatening the win apiece here. So it's not like he's just clearly losing the tempo with the queen. All right, so Tao finds an amazing move, knight f5. Of course, I'm sure this guy Ullmann probably just completely overlooked this move, um, or at least undervalued it uh, in any way. So in some way, excuse me. So knight f5. Wow, um, threatening, of course, to just hop in at d6 square. This uh, displacing the king here. Also, there's pressure here. So basically, Ullmann is forced to take the bait here and defend. So e takes f5. Queen c5, for example. You can have knight g7, which is devastating. You have knight d6, king f8, knight b7, queen takes b5, and now queen d7, regaining the piece. Queen takes g5, and now queen c6. And the black king is looking good, drafty there, right? Another idea that we briefly touched upon was knight takes g7 check. And you have king f8 there. Queen h5. And of course, there's this discovered checks against the queen if this knight is captured. So, for instance, or if the knight is captured, discover check against the queen, and if the bishop is captured, it's the same deal. So that's why queen h5 is such a powerful move here. So, for example, queen takes b5, for example. You can play a move like knight takes e6, check, and say bishop takes, then bishop h6 check, and then just picking up the queen here on the next move. So after e takes f5, rook e1, real obvious move, and now Uhlmann starts to defend. So bishop e6, queen d6, and now the mission is simple for black. If he can defend and ward off these threats, well, he's up material. All right, so Tal's job, conversely, is to basically attack in a way where the fire can never be put out by his opponent. So can he maintain his initiative or not? This is the question. So queen d6 is played here, and Uhlmann plays the move a6. All right, now this is a mistake in the position. Knight f6 seems natural and better. Not only does it block the action of this bishop here on g5, but it's just a natural move. This is where the this is where the knight belongs, and it develops a piece. However, even at the knight f6, this move rook a d1 seems almost impossible to refute. What do you do after this? If you play a6, for example, then you can just simply just take, and if you take with the queen here, right, then all hell breaks loose as mate is on the way, and black just continues to drop material. All right, so for instance, king f8, queen takes a8. What else can we do after knight f6? Rook a d1. And forget about playing rook d8 because you just captured because the knight is pinned. So after a6, besides bishop takes f6, rook takes e6 is also possible. And white is winning here too. So although knight f6 is the more natural looking move and the move that you would want to play, none of it works. This is why Uhlmann chose the seemingly illogical a6. And of course, Tal is not going to just play a move like bishop takes c6 here for nothing. If he plays this move, this is great for black, right? White loses the initiative. White can't afford to trade queen, so he just has to basically, lose time in replacing, finding a good square for the queen. So instead, he plays bishop d2, attacking the queen. Queen c2 from Uhlmann. And now, Tal plays bishop b4, threatening, of course, queen f8 here. A takes b5, queen f8, king d7, and now rook ed1. very strong play by Tal. Of course, Rook AD1 is more natural and playable. King C7, Queen takes A8, Knight F6 would be a mistake on account of the Rook hanging back here. So perhaps a move like King B6, but Black is still lost here. His position is just in total shambles, and it's just a matter of time before the end. So in the game, Tal didn't play the natural Rook AD1, but he moved the Rook on the E file over and played Rook ED1. King C7. He had a similar continuation. Tal just simply snatched the Rook here, and Uhlmann resigned after 19 moves. Play could have gone, say, Queen A4, for example, and this is just simply meant by a powerful move like Bishop D6, King B6, Queen F8, Queen H4, Bishop C5 check, and the king being driven from pillar to post and attacked by White's marauding pieces. Another option after Queen takes E8 is to play Knight F6 again, as we showed, but again the Rook drops, Knight E4, and there's nothing that Black can do about that. So short 19 move game for Tal on Father's Day for all you chess fans out there, and I hope you enjoyed that. What can we take from that game? Well, basically, especially against an attacking player like Tal, it's probably not too wise to go pawn grabbing. This is very optimistic on from the Black's viewpoint against a player like Tal, and of course, you know, he ripped the position open. And the thing about it is he gave him a sacrifice which he was pretty much obligated to take here, and the rest was just downhill. So just thinking 7 moves from now, the game would be over after this innocent looking pawn grab. So ladies and gentlemen, develop your forces first and then go after material. Or as Capablanca would put it, position first, then material. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Please donate to my channel. Check the links below for DVDs and or books related to this opening, which was played on the board today, which is the French defense. And I look forward to your comments, and I'll see you on the next video.